welcome to the Life Career Roadmap YouTube channel. And today, my special guest, Vivian Trevizian. Did I say your name right, Vivian?
Yeah, that's correct. Vivian Trevizian. Yeah.
Okay. So, Vivian, welcome to the channel.
Thank
And
you.
I'm so happy that you are here because you have been talking about you coming to the program for a long time, to the channel for a long time, and you haven't done. So
Yeah,
now it's the
it's
time.
happening.
It's happening. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me. It was really surprising. It was like, yes, I finally speak to someone.
Vivian, the two questions that I start off with my guests, um, where you come from and what's your professional background?
I'm from Brazil, just like you. I'm from São Paulo, and I came to Australia in 2015 when I decided to migrate. I actually came in 2009 and then went back to Brazil, decided to come back to Australia in 2015 to migrate. And my professional background, it's very different. I am in Brazil. I was a graphic designer. I was specialized in educational materials. So I was developing notebooks, university books, everything related to education. So I used to work for the government of Brazil. I was also working for like Oxford and different print houses over there. Yeah. And Pearson and different ones. We were developing books in all different, like from engineering to kids' books, everything around that. And when I decided to move to Australia, at that time, like 2015, long time ago, we decided to come to Perth because it was a regional place. And obviously graphic design was not exactly the biggest industry at the moment. And I had to choose to study something that would give me the opportunity to stay in the country. So I had to decide between being a childcare worker, a chef, a nurse, or a massage therapist. So I first decided to work in childcare because I thought it was like, yeah, that'll be cool. But then after a while, I was like, I don't think I will be able to deal with like 15 kids in the same class
at the same time.
And like maybe like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that, before properly coming to Australia, I decided to study massage. And then I studied massage, and I work as a massage therapist for 5-6 years. I don't remember now, for a long time, more than that, because I've been here for 8.5. Yeah, for like 7 years, around 6.5, 7 years as a massage therapist. I got my sponsorship. I got my PR, working as a massage therapist, and then I injured my shoulder, and that's when I thought it's time to go back to design or a career similar. And then COVID hit.
Woohoo!
Woo!
What else would expected, right?
Yes, like everything could happen, but COVID, yeah.
Yes.
So it was quite tough, but then after that, I got a job as a massage lecturer. I was teaching massage, yeah. And right after that, it was very interesting because I was just checking jobs on Seek, and this job was like perfect. It was asking someone with a background. Yeah, that was perfect for me. It was like someone with a background in graphic design that had experience as a trainer and that understood of the health system in Australia. So because I used to work as a massage therapist in a physiotherapy clinic, that was a big clinic. I was also working with the GPs and the nurses next door. We were all like mostly with the physios and the chiropractors. So I kind of understood all health related. So when I applied for that job, we were like, yes, tick this box, tick this box. I was ticking all the boxes. So yeah, that's how it happened.
What a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
So wonderful, because I'm here now and I want to know deeper what happened. So let's go back.
Yeah.
Time when you were living in Brazil as a little child. So at any point in time, I'm very curious to know when people decide about what they want to do with their lives if something comes from their childhood. So,
Yeah.
and normally we have that question, what do you want to do or what do you want to become when you grow up?
Yeah.
So what was in your mind that time when you were a child thinking about, oh, when I grow up, I want to be, was not a graphic designer probably,
No,
right?
definitely not. It was a journalist. That was my dream
Oh,
since little. Yeah. It was very funny because since little I wanted to be a journalist that would travel the world, telling the world, you know, the different things I was seeing in the world. So my dream was to like just get a backpack and jump in an airplane and then go to somewhere very different like Thailand or Cambodia and just journal and make and write about that. That was my dream actually.
okay.
And which because of that, I ended up working with graphic design because I ended up studying social science. And because at that time I was like, oh, I want to be a journalist, you know, then I want to talk about politics, I want to understand everything. And I didn't like it at all.
Oh, I discovered.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Exactly. I was
not
like,
for
oh,
me.
I don't think that's really what I want. And then I quit uni, and my friend, he used to work at Abril,
Okay,
where
it's a
all the magazines,
big publisher
biggest
in
magazines at the
Brazil.
time were
Yeah.
in São Paulo in Brazil. And I told him, like, how did you get a job there? You're not a journalist. He also wanted to be a journalist, right? And he said, oh, I studied Senai. I did graphic arts over there. So, and then I got this job as a graphic designer. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Can I?
So
Okay.
Senai, for you guys who are watching, is same as TAFE. We have
It's a TAFE. Yeah, it's a TAFE. Yeah. So, it was a bit different because I used to study at USP. And then I went to study Senai, so it was very completely different.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, like really
And how
different.
did you feel leaving USP there as a ranked university in Brazil
Yeah.
to go to do a technical career
Yeah.
studying in the like TAFE as Senai
Yeah.
is a big difference. Like in Brazil, as we
Yeah.
always think about being bigger and better, and right.
Yeah. And the university,
Yes,
you
and
be the best
especially
if you go to
USP.
university. Yeah.
When you say USP, everyone say, "Oh yeah, you are."
Yeah, exactly. Um, it was for me it was kind of okay because I wasn't really happy at the course because this is a very thing something that happens in Brazil a lot. It's a public university, so you usually don't have much classes in that setting, right? I had not many classes. I'm from the east side of São Paulo, and the university is on the west side of São Paulo. And if you know São Paulo, the distances are huge. It was taking hours for me to go to work and then go to university and then come back home. It was really, and I was getting to school, getting to university, and like, oh, the teacher didn't come today. Oh, we don't have classes. How do you say this in English? Greve.
Strike.
Yeah, the teachers have strike or the students have a strike. It was like, oh gosh. So I wasn't enjoying that. And when I decided to quit, I wanted to do something because I noticed like I want to do something that I can work with already, can start working because I was getting that, like I need to work, I want to work, like I see all my friends doing that. And when my friend told me about, he was working at Abril, at the big publish house, he was doing something very cool that was like, oh, he was doing the design of the magazines. And I was like, I like it. So that's when I went to Senai. And funny enough, at first it was a bit like, oh, it's very different because you don't have that. You don't have to read 5 books per week. You don't have to write essays, anything. You go to school and then you have your uniform, your hair is tied here. You cannot have earrings or anything because you're working with those. In my case, I was doing graphic arts, right? So you have those printers that are like 3 levels and you're learning how to use that. And then your fingers are full of paint and tint and everything. And for me, it was magical because I was like,
Was literally hands-on.
literally hands-on. Yeah, because when you study graphic arts, that at that time, long time ago, it was the printing acts, right? Yes. So you need to know all the technical aspects of that. So if you're printing for a newspaper. It's completely different from printing a book. So the type of thing, the type of print, the type of PDF you need to export, everything's different. So you need you learn all the technicals, and then you go to the computer and you learn to do that. Because once you understand how this machine works, everything you need to do differently, then you go to the computer and do the graphic design. So when I went to the graphic design, it was great. I love it. I could do magazines if I wanted. So my first job was working with a small magazine, actually, a tourism magazine. So it was one person, he was doing photos and talking about all the region of São Paulo, Minas Gerais, and Rio. So we were doing magazines like that, and it was great. So I fell in love, actually.
Yes, lots of colors and dreams.
Oh, love it. You can see it, colors everywhere. It's just what I love.
Yes. So, and then like getting into graphic designing, because even in Brazil, when I was there, graphic design was something very different, and not in every part of Brazil you could do a course in graphic design, right? So, and then became something very niched, very specific. Right. And then when was the time for you, after learning about everything about tourism, the colors of the world, where to go, what made you to decide to come to Brazil? Was something that was back of your mind like for a long time, or was like, hey, I need to do something, or something happened in your life that you said, I need to get this adventure in my life?
I come from not rich family at all. I always studied in public schools and everything, except for high school. But my dad always wanted us to study English. So he said, you might not go to the best schools ever, but you will know how to speak English. So I started studying English since I was 11, I think. That's when I started studying English. And that's when your world opens, right? Because you're like, you can read things from abroad. It was the beginning of the internet, right? Like looking at things. And I always loved, I don't know, the Backstreet Boys, the Spice Girls, or seeing photos of, what's his name, that surfer that I loved him, Kelly Slater. And he was traveling the world surfing, right? So South Africa, Australia, right? And I always wanted to come to Australia because I was like, beautiful beaches, and the weather might be similar to Brazil. Why not? So different so far. And when I had the opportunity, I wasn't very happy at my job. I was working a lot. I was doing sometimes I was starting on a Thursday morning and working until Friday, end of the day, and then coming back to work on Sunday again, and then doing those things. I was working way too much. And
so you have a break in that.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I had enough. And that's when I decided to come here to study. Two of my friends, actually, we were working in the same room, and they both came to Australia. One of them came to Sydney, and the other one went to Perth. And I was like, no, I want to go. But I was like, I don't want to go to Australia because you guys are there. So I was like, no, I want to go to London. I want to go to New Zealand. And at the end, but at the very bottom, I really wanted to come to Australia. And then I had this friend, Daniel. He's still in Sydney. And he was like, no, come over here. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll go to Sydney. And then this other friend, Wendell, he was in Perth, and he was like, Viv, just come here. At that time, there were not many Brazilians. You can speak more English. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll go to Perth. And it was like, I had to decide today, Wendell, do you have a house? Do you have a room for me? And he's like, yeah, just come to my house. I have a room for you. Like, okay, cool. That's how I ended up in Perth.
So you came basically for a holiday adventure instead of the intention of migrating.
No, the first time was just studying English, the classic. Just studying English, take a break, just work in hospitality, and be happy. That's what I did.
And then you had a visa for that time, and then your visa
expired, and then I went back to Brazil.
And this is what you did. You do or not? you went back to Brazil straight away, or you renew your visa to stay a little bit longer?
No, I stayed there only 6-7 months. I stayed a bit more than that. I only extended because I went to travel to Thailand. We did like a bit of a backpack in Thailand, so I stayed a little bit more. And then I came back, went back to Brazil. And that's when I decided I was in Brazil and things were not really working out. And I went back to university. I was studying marketing and publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And I was halfway through university. And at that time, I was like, I don't know if I really want to be here, really miss, I think I could have a better life back in Australia. And at the time, my partner was also Brazilian, and we were like, yeah, we need to decide. And then one day we were like, you know what, let's talk to as many people we can. We spoke to like 3, 4, 5 different agents, and we decided, okay, we're going back to Perth to study massage. And he wanted to study something different. I think it was mechanics, I don't remember. But we had that plan correctly.
Yes.
And that's when we migrated here. But I had that view. I was like, I know what I want. I know exactly what I want. I would change my life. I know it would be different, but I want to migrate. I want to stay in that country. So that's it.
What's the definition of what I want?
Yes.
Wonderful. So, and then you came, and of course, is the dream that everything will work out and you be happy in the country that you chose. The roadblocks that you face, girl.
Oh, Cema, you know my story.
Well, I know. I want you to tell the interesting part that you faced here with the roadblocks when you came as, I know what I want.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The first roadblock was even though I knew life wouldn't be the same because I was coming here now as a professional, I wanted to migrate, life would be different, wouldn't be happy and party and hospitality. It was full on because I decided to study remedial massage. And I went to a very full-on school. It was a TAFE, which was a TAFE in Beaconsfield in Fremantle. And I was studying 40 hours a week. I was inside TAFE 40 hours a week. Plus, school clinic, because after we had to do extra hours in clinic. So I had classes from 9 to 4, I think 3:30 or 4, and then go home, eat some food, and then go to clinic, stay there until 8:30 or 9 p.m. doing the placements and everything. Plus a lot of things because we had all those crazy hours we had to do as a placement to be able to get the diploma in that particular school. So the first roadblock was definitely the study load. It was huge, Cema. And my background is a graphic design. I never knew anything about bodies, right? I was studying because if people don't know what remedial massage is, it's the basics of physiotherapy. So you're learning anatomy, you're learning the mechanics of the body, you're learning... Sorry?
The physiology as well, right?
Yeah, the physiology, the chemistry, everything. You're studying something that
you never saw before in front of you.
It's not colors anymore, It's not like RGB. It's not like that. And that was the biggest roadblock for me, was that the study load was insane. And I still had to work because
pay the
bills. And we were very lucky. We got quite a cheap place to live. But still, we had to save money to pay for renewing the visa, all these kind of things.
Yes.
So that was the biggest roadblock I had. And the first 2 months, although my English was good, it was really tough to understand anatomy in English.
Full time, right?
Yeah, because even though I lived here in Australia for a while, I went back to Brazil and I learned American English, and it was completely different. And then you come to Australia, Western Australia, there is a different accent. And I had to learn anatomy in English, which is a Latin word with Australian accent. So it was really tough. So the first months were tough, were really, really tough. And
how many times, based on this first roadblock, you thought, oh my goodness, what I have done with my life?
oh, every day.
Every day.
Every day. I was like, the first
Mm.
6 months were every day. After that, I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I decided to do that. I started enjoying after 6 months.
Okay.
Because it became more technical. At first was a lot of theory and relaxation massage, which is not really my thing. But when it became more technical, more physio, I started enjoying. But the first 6 months was like every day. It was wow. Yeah, I wasn't expecting, because I wasn't expecting to study that much.
Yeah.
Because I thought I would study and work, and I couldn't work. So, my partner at the time, he had to work full time, extra hours, more and more and more. So I could study,
Okay.
and do this, which is quite normal between couples that come together, right? So,
and what's the next roadblock then?
Yes, that's the next one, because I always worked. I had my money, and not that I didn't. I was still doing cleaning, I was doing this, but it's still, right? You have to save as much as you can for the visa. It's all about the visa.
So about the visa.
Yeah.
It becomes an addiction.
Exactly. Yeah. So I speak to people and I hear people talking about that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have to go through that anymore.
It's tough. It's consuming.
It is. And but you know what? I always like to see the positive side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You grow up so much. You become so resilient. You have no idea. I never thought I would be that resilient.
We never know until we go through it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So, and then what's the next roadblock for you? So,
and then the next one, I thought that, do you know, my biggest roadblock was my mind, my mindset, because when we are here, we have this mindset. Am I capable? Am I really capable of doing that? And I thank God I was very lucky, because I got a job in Perth. I didn't have to move. A few of my friends had to move to Darwin to get a sponsorship over there. I got in Perth in the CBD. So I was quite lucky. But that was like a lesson for me, because I was putting in my mind, am I really able, do I need to do whatever, I was feeling so sorry for myself for thinking that I wasn't able to do it. And actually it was fine. So the biggest roadblock was definitely my mind. And then the biggest one again was my visa. There was a mistake with my visa, because I came in a 2 years visa, but my course was only 1.5 years. So I still had 6 months. So my agent at the time, instead of putting me to study another diploma, she said, oh, you can study IELTS. So because I never studied IELTS or anything. So I had to do the English test to get the PR, to get the sponsor, right? So I got my sponsorship, everything was working. So I had to do this. And I didn't know I couldn't, because actually once you study a diploma, you need to study the same level or above.
Above, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I didn't. The immigration got me. It was that story, Cema. It's like, I cannot explain this story. So I bought my tickets to go to Brazil. I had tickets to go back to Brazil. So I was going to Brazil on a Monday. I applied for my visa because I was in the bridging visa. So I got this call 5 a.m. in Perth time. A weird number from Melbourne. I got a call. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I woke up, got the phone, and it's like, oh, hi, Viv, is this Vivian? This is someone from the whatever name from the immigration. I just got your name here. You will receive an email in a few hours, and I am ringing you to tell you, do not leave the country. I see that you have a ticket to go to Brazil on Monday. Today is Wednesday. Do not leave the country. I was like, okay, okay.
Why not? What's going on?
Before I was like, what the hell? Anyways, I got an email from the immigration saying that explained the situation, and I had to write a letter. At that time, I went straight to the immigration agent. We wrote a letter explaining the situation. Look, I never studied IELTS. I'll need to do the test, so I want to be prepared. I'm already on a sponsorship. I have everything, right? They still come back. There was a Thursday night or Friday. No, there was Friday. They got back to me and said, like, we decide, although we understand the circumstances, we will still cancel your visa. From 12 p.m. on a Friday, you don't have a visa to stay in the country, but because the immigration office will be closed, you have an appointment with the immigration officers on Monday, 9 a.m. So you're illegal in the country for the whole weekend. Jeez, it was like, oh my God. So we were working, we had to stop working, cancel a shift, stay at home. It was the worst weekend of my life because, I had everything already. I had everything in my hands. And on a Monday, we got dressed like nicely. We were there in the immigration, and they told us, like, unfortunately, you haven't done anything wrong, but we need to cancel your visa. So we will give you something called Bridging Visa E, which is a type of visa that they give to prisoners, to
Really?
Yeah, that's this type of visa, terrorists, these kind of things. And we were like, whoa. And they're like, you have full working rights. You can do anything inside Australia, but you cannot leave Australia.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I was in that visa for long years. I couldn't leave Australia until I was a PR. So if it took me like 5 years, I would be locked in Australia for 5 years.
And how long took you to get your PR after that?
After that, took it 2 years, I think. From that,
You lost your ticket because you could like
2.5. Yeah. No, I lost everything. I canceled everything. Like, I'm not leaving. So I think that guy was an angel, really, because that person to get the phone and ring me and say, "Hey,"
yes,
like, it was probably his first call of the day. It was amazing.
And you know what, Vivian, when you recognize the kindness and the great attitude that the guy had, it's amazing, because someone else could be just complaining and saying bad things about what they have done. But I'm glad that you recognize that the guy helped you.
Oh, I prayed for him for so long. I was always thankful for him because he saved me, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to come back to the country until my PR was approved. So how would I have a PR approved if I wasn't working? Because I depend on being in a sponsor to be, right?
Yes.
No, I wasn't until it was like 3 years, I think, until I got it. It was a really long time. That's actually when my mom came, because I couldn't leave the country.
Okay. So, and then we're in Perth, but this situation, you could move to anywhere in Australia. You could not just leave the country.
Yeah, just not leave the country. Yeah.
So, and when did you decide to move away from Perth?
That's another story. So, got my PR. It's a long time. It's a long 3 years. And I love Perth. I had my friends in Perth, but I had my partner. I met my partner in Perth. Just very quick. I separated from my Brazilian partner. We separated, and I met my partner. And after a while, he got a job here in Adelaide. So he came to Adelaide, and I was still on my sponsor, so I had to stay in Perth. And then when I got my PR, I was like, okay, my partner's over there. I think it's time to move, to go somewhere different. I've been in Perth for so long, and I was like, yeah, I'm moving to Adelaide. I'm a massage therapist, so technically I can work anywhere I want.
Anywhere, yes.
So that's when I came to Adelaide.
And moving to Adelaide, so you worked there also as a massage therapist from the beginning. Okay.
In the beginning, yeah.
And tell me about the cultural shock. So you moved from Brazil to Perth. You lived here before as holiday, right? So
Yeah.
coming to study and have fun and
Yeah.
everything. So coming to study and then really having the real life as living abroad,
Yeah.
right? And then you had the comparisons,
Oh,
real
yeah.
comparisons.
Yeah.
So what are the main cultural shocks that you faced moving from Brazil to Australia, specifically coming to Perth?
Yeah. The size of the city. There was I'm from São Paulo, so I'm so used to have everything 24 hours. And
Yes.
for a while it was great, but after a while it was like
Annoying.
annoying. Yes.
And you
Yeah.
couldn't have everything on your hand in 24 hours.
Exactly. Like, what do you mean the restaurant is gonna close at 9? You know, like that doesn't make sense.
Supermarket closed at 5.
Yes, I know. I still don't get it, really. How do you work until 5 and then supermarket closes at 5?
Yes.
So that was the one of the biggest ones. But once I started working, I think that is something that most of the immigrants face. It's the distance that Australians, I don't think it's only Australians. I'll say most English speakers, they have a very different relationship that they have professionally. They have their professional life and they have their personal life. Being Latina, being Brazilian, you're always friends with everyone. You have your kid's birthday party. Everyone from the office comes to the birthday parties, right? So everything is always everyone's together, and that was a big
knows about everything.
Exactly, yeah. Which now I really like the distance.
And you appreciate the separation.
Now I appreciate that. Like, what do you mean? We work together every day and we're not friends on Facebook. Like, it's really weird, right? And working in massage environment, physiotherapy environment, it was very interesting because I had people not naked, but on their underwear on that table, right? So I was massaging them, and that's fine. So before I leave, they are covered. I say, I will get some water, come back, they're dressed, right? Once they're dressed, if I touch their shoulders, they are like, why are you touching me? And in my head, it's like, I just saw you in your underwear on the table, you know? In my head, I couldn't understand. But now I understand, especially because now my partner is Australian and he explains me that a lot. Vivian, that is a difference. I'm giving you permission, right, to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Once I am back with my clothes and everything, I'm not giving you that permission anymore. And it took me a long time to stop touching people's arms or shoulders because it's quite normal for us. Yes. Or talking to the hands all the time. I still do that a lot. Yeah, like these, you know, those things that we do in Brazil a lot. Italians do a lot. We do that a lot, right? That was a big shock, especially working in that environment for me. In the office, I think it's more the separation of personal life and professional. It's I'm used now, but at the beginning it was like, okay, what are the boundaries here?
Yeah,
is that big or is not that big? You know, I don't really know. Yeah.
And probably you guys who are hearing my old dog snoring here and some flies coming as well around here. So you are getting summer in Australia, everything comes
summer in Australia. Welcome to summer in Australia.
The flies just come without invitation.
Yeah.
Especially when you open the window a little bit. So let's go back here. So in Adelaide, and what's the big difference between Perth and Adelaide? Because we know many people think as when we are out of there, any other country, that everything is the same wherever you go. And you know, in Brazil, you have very distinct regions where people have different behaviors, different accents, different even words that they describe things, right? So for you, what do you have noticed between being in South Australia after living in Western Australia?
I think the biggest difference I felt is I think Western Australia is more casual. People are much more casual. Most of the places here, when you go, especially in the CBD where the big companies are, everyone's very corporate. It's a very corporate, it looks very corporate.
Formal.
Yeah. That's the main difference that I noticed moving to Adelaide. It was like, okay, it's not that you don't see as many people walking barefoot in the supermarket here as many as I used to see more. I used to live in Frio, so it's also a bit different. It's more relaxed. People are more relaxed in Frio, right? But that's the main thing I noticed in Adelaide. And the winter also, the weather is quite similar. It's very windy and rains quite a lot, but here it gets very green.
Yes.
So you go to the hills, that would be quite similar more south of Perth, that is like the winery region, Margaret River.
Yes, Margaret River.
But then here you have the hills like 30 minutes from your house. Yeah.
So hills here in Swan Valley too.
Sorry?
You have some hills here in the Swan Valley.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But that's the main thing I noticed, like, was that, and one thing that I love about the Perth, and I tell Craig all the time, like, I really miss Perth, is the weather.
Is the weather and the beach as well. Sorry, you have beautiful beaches here.
Oh yeah, but because the weather here is quite similar to Perth, but Perth has longer summers than here.
Okay.
Yeah, here we have short summer. It's really hot, just like Perth, like 42, 43, 45, 46. You can get that, but it's only 3 months. And then you move straight into spring or autumn, everything. While in Perth, you still have that longer period. Yeah. Another thing I noticed, the accent is different.
Accent is, tell me more about it,
because
something that people don't know, like especially newcomers, as having English as a second language gets a while until you learn the accents, right?
Yeah, the accent in Adelaide, it's a bit more British. They talk a bit more British, because that is something with immigration here. They were settlers, they were not convicts, something like that. So the accent is a little bit different. I found it a bit easier to understand people here than it was in Perth. My cultural shock in Perth was like, wow.
What were you talking about?
Yeah, I know. When I came the first time, when I didn't speak English as much and everything, it was like, because we don't expect the Australian English to be so different.
Yes.
And it is.
Sounds different, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And especially because nowadays with the globalization, we can see many movies made in Australia about Australia culture. But in Brazil, we grew up a lot, not even British, but we grew up a lot of American movies. So we have the stereotype of American life.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, which is completely different from here. Here is like, no, that's not American at all.
Yes. So, in moving to Adelaide, so you, how long took you to leave Perth and get a job in Adelaide?
Oh, as a massage therapist, I could have a job the next day. Okay. It was really easy because it's an industry that if you enjoy it, you can get jobs so easy and you can get a good money, but it's very tiring on your body. That's what happened to me. I chose to give a month break because I needed a bit of a break.
Right.
Because I was under sponsorship, right? I used to work full time as a massage therapist, so it was really full on. But yeah, it didn't take. If I wanted the next day, I could have a job. I started sending some CVs, and I was like, I don't even want to. I received like 7 different calls. Like, I don't even know if that's what I wanted. You know, it was a bit way too much.
Okay, so it makes a big difference when you give you a break, a time to reevaluate.
Oh yes, yeah. And that's when I noticed, I was like, I don't really want to do that anymore. I'm very tired. That's when I started to have issues with my hands and my arms. And but I was like, that's what I know what to do, right? So I can do both. I can maybe go back to graphic design. I did a bit of freelance jobs here. But I still did massage until I got completely injured, and then I had to stop. I had no choice. Yeah.
Could you heal your shoulder?
Yeah, it's look, I can do the movement. I was like stopping right here, and not much this movement as much anymore. I couldn't. I injured the tendon of the biceps over here. So because I did a lot of sports massage, it was really strong. I'm very strong. So I was using the wrong muscles to push my body.
To help others. You just get someone else injured out of their body you got in your, so they
Yeah, exactly. I was fixing everyone and then injuring myself.
Yeah.
And my physio told me, like, if you keep doing that, you end up having frozen shoulder. That's when I was like, I don't want to have frozen shoulder. If people don't know what frozen shoulder is when you cannot do this movement anymore, or this one. You cannot even comb your hair anymore or brush your teeth.
You have lots of problems if you rotate the cuff and
yeah.
And it's painful when you go to sleep and you have numb.
Exactly. Yeah, numb arms, you can have issues. Yeah, I had everything, Cema.
So you got this break when you decide to move to Adelaide, and COVID hit, and was a time for everyone in the planet to have a chance to think about what they want to do from now on, because we felt very vulnerable.
Yes.
Wherever we were, well, not just in Australia, anywhere. So, and then you had this reevaluation and decide to wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, tell us more about.
So with COVID, obviously as a massage therapist, I had to stop. Also, my partner, he has asthma. So at the time we were not sure, because they were saying people that had asthma would be like really tough and those kind of things. So I had to totally stop. And I was like, whoa, it's time to think about, is that really what I want? Right? I'm tired. I'm getting tired. I actually I decided to study building design, because I'm a designer. I can do building design, you know. I always loved architecture and everything. But then at the end, it was a bit full on. The laws were changing some stuff. And I was like, oh, I really miss my graphic design. I was still doing massage, but then my shoulder started to get injured. And that's when I started looking. I was like, you know what? I will start again looking for jobs with what I did, which was graphic design specialized in training and education. And that's when I realized that I was looking with the wrong name.
That's right. And was a huge field now, especially after COVID or during COVID.
Because I was always looking for a job as a proper graphic designer, like, you know, people that do advertisement and these kind of things. And that's not my thing. So my portfolio was not that. Not so
marketing. You are more, right?
Yeah. I'm more technical. I go to that side. And then I was like, one day, you know, when you have those things, you're
moments, like, yeah, the aha moment.
Exactly. There was an aha moment. It was like, I'll put like learn, education, or design, and suddenly a list of jobs as a learning designer. And I was just reading, and I was like, that's what I do. I've been in Australia for 7 years, and now I just realized that that is a different title.
That's right. That normally what I say to people when they come to me, and I even have a workshop called "You are not your job title."
Yes, you are not your job title. No, it's amazing, because sometimes even you think, no, I'm a graphic designer, I'll get this job, and you look at the description, it's like, that's not exactly what I used to do in my country, because I see that a lot with marketing people.
Yes. A lot. And also in finances as well, it's very common. And even in job technology has a little bit of a misunderstanding, mismatch job titles. And it's very interesting, because you see the frustration that say, oh my goodness, I could have done this before, right? And the regret of not thinking out of the box that comes. But the thing is, Vivian, believe it or not, things come in the right time.
They do. They do.
So probably if you had found that, you'd be so frustrated because you were studying, you could not get the job.
Yeah. And you know, I was watching one of your reels the other day. I think, what's your reels? or your interview with Connor, one of them. And it's something that my partner, he told me for a long time, and I never understood, and now I understand, and I'm trying to help my friends in situation. Even when I got my PR or my citizenship, I felt like I was still not part of that.
That's right.
So I always thought like, oh, although I am a PR, I am a citizen, I am not one of them. I don't feel, it's not that they were treating me not like them. I wasn't accepting myself as one of them.
That's right. Perception.
So I don't think I would ever get the job, not because I wasn't capable or people would never like it, but because I thought I wasn't at that level, or someone will accept me, or someone will, because it was inside of me. And I never thought about that. And Craig always told me, Vivian, it's in your mind. You are one of us. You acting like you're not, but
You're
you
not.
are.
And you keep this barrier in front of you, right?
Exactly. It is always in your mind, right? It's always here. And once I got that, I was like, whoa, I was actually, not being nice to myself. It was something that in my mind. And I was like, yeah, that's who you are. And it's not true. And my friend is going through something similar. She just got a new apartment. And she told me, Vivian, I had that moment that, I'm a PR. She got her PR nearly a year ago. I'm a PR, everything. But when she applied for that apartment, she was so scared she wouldn't get that apartment because
No, you are not one of us, so you don't have the
exactly.
right.
Yeah. And I told her, I was like, Lou, I know what you're talking about, but it's something that we need to work in our minds. It will come, it will be fine. But it is something that I think it takes a bit of time for you to really accept that.
Takes, and it's what I call the second class syndrome, that we accept. We see ourselves as, despite we want to be like them, we see as less than.
Yes.
And then it's so subtle.
Yes.
It plays every day in little things, right? If people, they come and talk to you in a different tone, oh, it's just because I'm a migrant. Right?
Yes.
If
Yes.
people look at you in a different way, oh, it's just because I'm a migrant. They don't like me.
Yeah.
So, but if you think about when you are in your country where you were born, these things happen all the time, right? So people don't talk to you nicely just because you are a citizen of the country.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. That is so true.
And especially in the workplace. Workplace is workplace, right? So, and then it's the same, like they come, I say, us newcomers, you come with the intention to have a better life, to find a job that you help me to get what I want, that is a citizenship, to be part, and then you get the job and you don't know anything about the culture as you, and you came say the distance and feeling, oh, I'm not part of this. And sometimes you go to a job, especially in offices, when you don't know the culture of the country and the culture of the company, you don't feel part.
Yeah.
In Australia, we have a very strong team culture.
True.
Right? And you don't feel part of the team. And you feel afraid of speaking up, afraid of putting your ideas out, to being criticized, to being whatever. So it takes a little while for us to feel, hey, I am here to contribute. Is when things change. I don't know if it changed for you when you saw yourself as a contributor.
Exactly, that's the word. Yeah, I wasn't someone like what's the name? The second class, right? I wasn't thinking like that anymore because I felt like that for so long, and then once you're like, I don't even had to feel like that because no one ever treated me like that. Right. I put myself in that position. I had just one situation that was not nice, but just once in all those years here, in 7 years, one situation. But it was mostly myself. I was scared.
Yeah.
Right. I was really scared.
Expose yourself to the new and I have to do some work here. I
exactly. Yeah. And open your mind. Open your mind.
Yeah. And the main thing is getting in, if you are a newcomer in any country, right? It's not just receiving a piece of paper and getting a passport. Is more than that. It's you to be part of the country, learn about the country, and be ready to be there for the country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? It's not just like, oh, it's good here, but if something gets wrong, I leave. No, you're part of the country now.
You're a
Better work
citizen.
together.
You're a citizen of this country. You have to vote, you have all your rights, but you have,
You have your obligations as well, right?
the obligations,
The contribution. It's your contribution.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
So, Vivian, being in Australia, I can say now that we have lots of Brazilian flavors in Australia in every aspect, And I remember when I came to Australia 25 years ago and I got pregnant and I was walking on the beach with my Brazilian bikini and everyone was, goodness, what is this, And then going now everywhere, you see bikinis, Brazilian bikinis selling everywhere, the Havaianas and everything and the food. What the time that you have been in Australia, what is the food or the meal that you miss from home? That is what we have here in Australia. Lots of Brazilians cooking great food. They are not the same, right?
No, they're not the same. That I miss the most. That is very interesting what I say, but the food that I miss the most, because being from São Paulo, we eat a lot of Lebanese Arab food. We call it Arab food, yeah. And I couldn't find anything that tastes the same as we have over there. Yeah. And because to be fair, like the rice and the beans and these kind of things, I prefer mine than most of the people I've tried before. I was like, no, I can do better.
From mama.
Yeah. So what I miss is like a big pizza, the topping, the pizza, pastel. You have here, but it's still not the same.
It's not the same. No. It's not.
And what do we call in Brazil? Arab food, which is mainly a mix of Syrian and Lebanese food. Yeah, that's what I miss the most. And I'm going to Brazil in January now, so I'm like, that's the first thing I'm going. Oh, and also Peruvian food, because in Brazil, in São Paulo, it's such a big thing. So, and I love it.
But no, not before when I was there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's
not 25 years ago.
It's a fashion now in Brazil, right? So
Yeah.
it's very interesting when you mentioned about the Lebanese food or the Middle East food, because I missed a lot as well, because you had so frequently in front of us, right? Go to restaurants, go to the little bars, you have the Lebanese food, and it was the migrants that brought to Brazil, and we embraced so deeply. And esfirras, these
esfirra. I love esfirra. Yeah, I love it.
Wonderful tabbouleh and everything. And then coming here is not the same. And basically, what we have in Brazil probably is not the same that people to eat, but it's the way we accommodate in Brazil. And we even have a big chain in Brazil. When I left Brazil, it was a big chain coming to Brazil to sell Lebanese food, right?
Habibis.
Yeah, Habibis. Was the time when I was leaving Brazil for the second time that Habib's was growing in Brazil.
Yeah.
Going everywhere, because it started in São Paulo and then went to the other states as well.
Yeah.
And when you look back to your journey, your life career journey, moving from your country to Australia, changing temporarily career that you thought you'd be doing for a long time, that you're supposed to do because you had to stay in Australia, and then coming back to your career that was a gap of 8 years, basically?
7, around 7,
7 years. So what the lessons did you learn throughout this story journey that you went through?
The biggest lesson is how do I explain that? Take a thing as whatever life gives you, whatever Australia gives you, whatever people give to you, accept it, work that through, and make it better. I'll explain that better. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, or even here, being able to talk freely, because I'm very shy. If I wasn't had a career as a massage therapist, because you learn to talk to people. I improved my English so much because if people don't know, when you especially do remedial and sports massage, you talk a lot because people are feeling a lot of pain. So you talking. So I developed my English quite well. And I got that. And then I was teaching. I was teaching for Australians. I wasn't teaching international students. I was the only international, me and one student that he was from Taiwan or China, I don't remember. And the other ones were all Aussies. So I was the only person there, like, talking, and it wasn't English as first language. And was like, whoa. And then I got this job, and it was asking for every experience I had in the past. So I took everything, I had experiences as a cleaner. I had experience, everything I've done, I took it as a lesson, and I transformed that into something positive that I can apply in my everyday life.
The transferable skills.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes I see a lot of people saying like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing this because this is not going to happen in the future. I want to be, I don't know, an engineer, right? I want to be an engineer. What being like a waitress, what type of, and you're like, if you're a waitress, you learn how to speak to people. You learn how to listen well to people.
Processes.
Exactly. You process. Exactly. So just learn, take it, and, be grateful. Especially be grateful. It doesn't matter. Even for the bad things, be grateful, because you have a big lesson to learn, especially on the bad ones, like when your visa is canceled, there are lessons to learn in there.
When you think nothing is working out, and then you are at the end of the tunnel, and
yes,
what's going on?
That church in Barrack Street, the Barrack in the city.
Yes.
Saw me so many times over there.
You pray.
Just like, God, please help me. I don't know what to do anymore.
Oh, Vivian. So, based on your learnings, if you could give a piece of advice, a suggestion to someone who is outside of Australia, wanting to come, or anyone wanting to migrate to a new country, looking for a life, a different life, what suggestion would you give to them?
Can I give two? There's the ones I give to everyone I know, I meet. One, open your mind. It's tough, but open your mind. And the second one, don't linger only with people from your own country. Mm-hmm. Push yourself to be with people from different countries, to be with the locals. It is hard, it is difficult, it's easy, especially when you're homesick, you just want to be with your friends, you want to be talking your language. I get it. But the most important thing of living in an English-speaking country is to speak English.
That's right.
That's the most important thing. You need to communicate. You need to be able, if you want to be a nurse, you need to know how to tell your client, you need this medication for this reason. I'm giving you just. So it's hard, I understand, but that's the best you can do for yourself. Open your mind and improve your English. Don't linger only. Have your friends. I'm not telling people to not, but don't be just close in your own community.
Rely on your own language. You need to give your permission to
learn,
to embrace the new.
Yeah. And enjoy the different food. People sometimes get close, right? I only eat Brazilian food. I don't eat anything different. No, mate. Try Thai food. That's amazing.
And the Vietnamese food or the Indian food, they're wonderful.
Favorite. Yeah, favorite.
So, and Vivian, what's the next step for you? Do you want to keep going with the work that you do? Do you see yourself doing something else?
At the moment, I'm really happy with what I do. So I am probably going this pathway. But I'm also thinking something, maybe having a side gig, having like an online, I don't know, something online that would be, people say like easier, which is not.
It's not, baby.
It's not, right, Cema?
Oh my goodness, no.
Not easy.
Not. It's just a myth that your online will be easy for you.
No, it's not.
It's a business really hard. Anyway.
It's normal work, even more, because most of the time you're doing everything yourself, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So
especially from the beginning, it's like embrace the horses.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But for now, I just love what I do, and I'm so happy. Even where I work, I love it. My team's amazing. Everyone's so nice, and I'm like, I never thought I would be in this position ever. You know, Miss Cema, you know, the whole thing. So I was always like, no, nothing will work out for me. No, it does. It does.
Takes a time, and
It does take
especially
time.
if it's the growth, right? Because when
Exactly.
you look back, you see that you are a different person that
Yeah.
you have a different mind, and
Yes.
especially when you really take the time to reevaluate, because it's something that people forget, time to stop and
Yes.
reevaluate. It's so
Exactly.
important, but if
It
they
is.
still in a red wheel, like,
Yeah.
and they never stop and they never know where they are going to,
Yeah.
everything's looks like so difficult and impossible. So
Yes.
when you have this space that you give permission to yourself to, hey, let me breathe here. And as in English is the term, let me sleep on this,
Yes. Yes. That's the
right?
love this term. Yeah. Let me sleep
Yes,
on
let
this.
me sleep on this, and have
Yeah.
the time to think and regurgitate what's not really good here,
Yeah.
and work things out. And sometimes takes time. And as our conversation before is the need of being in a hurry all the time
Yeah.
to achieve everything yesterday. And
Yeah.
it's like your life you end tomorrow. I need, it's all the need.
Yeah. Yeah.
That of, hey, it's possible, let's do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stressful. We understand that. We've been through that, right? We know how stressful it is, but it is worth it. It's 100% worth it. So
Yeah.
just keep, put in your mind, that's what I want. It doesn't matter what's gonna happen. That's what I want. So you know what you want. When you know what you want, it doesn't matter what happens. You will try, you will fall, but then you stand up,
And come as
get
a
out the
blessing.
dust and keep going.
And come as a blessing, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember the time when I met you, you had a little sister.
Yes.
Now she's an adult, right?
She's 14. Yeah,
14. Oh my
she will be
goodness. She
15
was
next
little,
year.
little,
Yeah.
little. Yeah.
She's taller than me now, Sema. She's just like me, actually. Her face is just like,
Gorgeous.
sometimes I
Gorgeous.
see her photos and I'm like, Louisa, is that me or you? Like, weird.
And oh, she's gorgeous because you are beautiful. I was so impressed when I saw you for the first time, how beautiful you are. Like you are,
Thank
like
you.
your eyes, the color of your eyes, and you now you are glowing.
Mm.
A huge difference, right? Glow.
Yes. Yeah, it was, yeah,
What's up? What's up?
it was tough. It was a really tough time. But, I am very grateful for everything because, like you said, I am able to be glowing now because of everything I've been through.
The
Because
process.
otherwise, I wouldn't be glowing at all.
It's the process, baby. The process.
Exactly.
So, Vivian, thank you very much for your participation, for sharing your life career journey with us. And I'm sure many people, you take the learnings out of this conversation because they probably are facing what you have faced. And
Yes.
you could show that it's possible. And having this career gap of 7 years, if not even being able to work in your career, and
Yeah.
suddenly you are back,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
it happens, and it's
It happens. We might not believe, but it will. It will.
yeah, that's right. So thank you very much for your participation and for you watching this episode. Remember also you have more episodes about life career journeys in Australia and also outside of Australia. And thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe, to share this episode with someone that you love. And see you next. Bye-bye, Vivian.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.